Hey everybody, we're going to talk about The Blood of an Englishman by Renegade Games, and I am here with Sarah.
Hello.
Sarah is going to give us a quick overview of the game and how it plays. And one thing I'd like to say right off the bat is it's gorgeous. And if you like asymmetrical games, a little tug of war, yeah?
Yeah.
So what we've got going on. So you want to give us a little, talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is an asymmetrical two-player only game,
Okay.
and you are playing as either Jack or the Giant. And if you are Jack, you are going to be a nimble little rascallion trying to steal things from the Giant. And you do that by moving cards around on the board until they kind of match up with what you want. And Jack's plan is that he is trying to run up the beanstalks, grab treasure, and then run back down again. And he needs all three treasure, because just like in the story, he has to get the bag of gold, the goose that lays the golden eggs, and the singing harp. If he can do those things, he'll win the game. So Jack has a few little quick moves he can do. He gets 3 actions on his turn. As an action, he can move any card from the front of one stack to the front of another stack.
Okay.
That'd be one action. Or he can move a card from the back of a stack to the front. Or he can take a card off the board to start building his beanstalk. And you have to start with lower numbers, because in order to build the beanstalk, you have to get 6 cards in ascending order, but they don't have to be sequential. So when we look at this board right here, we've got some really good setups. We could start with a 1, so we could take that off the board as our 3rd move for the turn.
Okay.
I also could have taken a card from the back of any one of these stacks as a turn, but none of those numbers right now are low enough that it made sense to do that.
Okay.
So that's what Jack can do. The Giant doesn't particularly appreciate this feisty little human running around stealing his stuff, so he can make a few big lumbering giant moves to try and stop him. His goal is to yell "Fee Fi Fo Fum" to capture Jack and win the game. In order to do that, he is going to be able to move around cards as well, but in bigger, more giant moves. So you can take 4 cards from the beginning of a stack and move them to the front of another stack. Really mess up the board that way. He can also take any card that's not a treasure and just remove it from the game. Could be from the front of a stack, from the middle of a stack, anywhere. Or he can do 2 smaller moves where he moves a card from the front to the front of another one. He gets 2 of those as one action. So those are the things that the Giant can do to try and win that tug of war with Jack.
Okay. Okay. And so I know you were saying before, this being asymmetrical, I know a lot of people worry about, is it even? You know, am I going to enjoy playing one more than the other? And you said you guys did a lot of stats on this. And
oh yeah, so this game is actually by Cassar, who did Arboretum, and he is just a magician when it comes to numbers.
Okay.
And he was very concerned about being balanced, because he didn't want people to feel like if they always played Jack, they were going to lose, or always played Giant, they were going to lose. So he wanted to make sure that people had a good fair chance of winning on either side, and did a ton of playtesting with this game, and it came out to be so close on each side after all the tweaking and numbers changing that it's going to be a really good experience on both ends.
do you have a favorite, Jack or the Giant?
Oh, I've played a lot of both. I think that the Giant is slightly easier as a new player to the game, but it's interesting. As you play through the game, you start with so many cards on the board that Jack has a lot of options. So it's really easy to start pulling cards off and making your beanstalks. But once you've taken 12 cards off the board, those last 6 cards are really tough. So you have to be careful to not get too overconfident with Jack at the beginning, and make sure that the Giant doesn't just suddenly get all his cards matching up in the right place. Because the Giant, to win, he just needs to get Fee Fi Fo Fum to touch. And that can be either vertically or at the ends of rows. So right here, Fum, Fo, Fee, he just needs to get this Fi to be somewhere touching these 3 cards.
Right.
So if he could somehow rearrange everything and end up with it like this after several turns, that would win him the game. He also would win if the Fee Fi Fo Fum are at the end of these stacks. So his job is a little harder at the beginning and gets easier. So I think I really don't have a preference. I've played both a lot, and they're both really fun.
Well, guys, that is Blood of an Englishman. It's gorgeous, and I'm going to get a couple plays of this in tonight probably, and give you some more of that.
And this is coming out in late November.
Okay.
And it's going to be at hobby stores everywhere. We're really working on the date, but it looks like it'll be out just at the end of November, which is really exciting and great for the holiday season. And it'll be out at all the local game stores, but you can always check for more info at Play Renegade on Twitter or our website, renegadegames.com.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Have
See you
fun.
later.